morning, welcome to EMTV. The pandemic is beginning to take its toll on university staff. We are going to talk about how staff is doing based on a new employee survey. And might the election bring some results? Might the election results bring some hope for the well-being of employees? I will ask this after the news. The library had to spend tons more on the purchase of e-books during the corona crisis. Physical books were inaccessible and e-books turned out to be far more expensive and far more complicated to buy than regular books. First-year students will only pay €542 in tuition fees for the next academic year. This is a quarter of the standard rate. They already received a reduction in their first year, and because of the corona compensation, they are now getting a double discount. Stop investing in the fossil fuel industry. That is the request of a group academics who are members of ABP. That is the pension fund for civil servants and also for university staff. The fund plans to be climate neutral in 2050, but that is going too slowly according to their demands. Since last Monday, the university has opened 500 extra study spots. Students tell why they prefer to study on campus instead of at home.
Why did you decide to come here instead of studying at home?
Well, my girlfriend is at my house in quarantine because her roommate has corona, so we're together in one room.
At home I get distracted easily and I just prefer to work on campus because there I have an organized study space.
Being at the campus is way more chill to study. Nobody's disturbing you. And you have all the facilities, like good internet.
Well, personally for me, I live with some crazy housemates, so I prefer studying here.
There are more spaces available. Is it easier to get a place to study?
For the university library, it was pretty hard, but for Polak it's very easy.
Because normally the library would be full at around 9:01.
Do you have any reservation tips?
Wake up early so you can make your reservation at 9 o'clock.
It's literally at 9 o'clock in the morning you have to be there or it's game over.
Yes. Those were students, but how are universities' employees doing? According to the first results of the well-being survey, they are still hanging in there. However, the pandemic is beginning to take its toll. Virtually present today are Professor of Work and Organizational Psychology, Arnold Bakker, and also here is Roos Schelvis. She's a member of the HR department. Welcome to you both. It's good to have you here. Arnold, start with you. You probably saw the election results just as we all did. Again, the VVD is the largest party. It isn't official yet, but they will have the win again. They have been the largest party for years. What do you think this will mean for universities and also topics as mental health and work stress?
Good morning. I think that for me the most striking result is that D66 became actually one of the biggest winners of yesterday. And D66 is led by a strong female leader, and she grew up in a family of teachers. So I think this is also the politics of D66, that they have really an eye for teaching, and I hope that they will really look at the workload of academics and the well-being of academics as well as teachers in elementary schools and high schools.
Yeah, because as we saw last week, EM did a poll among university employees and students as well to see what they would vote for. And D66, as you say, would be the largest party here. So you're not that surprised?
No, I'm not surprised. If you look up, I actually just looked up at Wikipedia, they are having the largest number of people holding an academic degree. So people who have a university education, they like D66 because traditionally they have an eye for teaching, for research, for academics. But also they are social liberals, so they are somewhere in the middle, and that's very typical Dutch, I would say.
And also here is Roos. Roos, you are the principal researcher that carry out the survey among employees concerning their mental health. Which group of, our colleagues is struggling the most at this time?
Good morning, Tessa. Well, we found in our survey that actually most of us struggle, but the way in which we struggle differs per group. For example, teachers, so our colleagues with teaching obligations, they are more hindered by several environmental factors than other colleagues. For example, by failing technique, which is very hindering, of course, if you have to, if you're conducting a seminar or something like that. So teachers are hindered by things like techno-stress, but other colleagues, such as our international colleagues, are more hindered by social isolation and are hindered by lacking supporting environmental factors. Another group are full-time colleagues with a full-time contract, 38 hours or more, are, for example, less positive about the services they get from the to perform their work well. And a last group I would like to shed a light on is the group of managers. We as HR often look to managers to implement several policies or to actually lead our other colleagues, but they are under pressure themselves as well. So what we learn from these different groups is that their struggle differs. So the solution we need to provide them with also needs to differ. We have to tailor our solution to the different needs of these groups.
But I have to say, I was still quite surprised by the outcome because it was rather positive. But when I speak to people from the university and ask them how they are doing, the answer is also rather doubtful, I would say. They are fine, they're getting on, during these circumstances. But why do you think the outcome was, rather positive? They're still hanging in there, you said.
Correct. And the word "still" is very important in this little sentence because the outcomes actually are still positive, but I think it's very likely to change because we see in our research that several risk factors for longer-term strain are actually present. So the longer the pandemic takes, the more pressing these risk factors will become. And therefore, there's definitely an urgency to act here.
Yes, and Arnold, you think job crafting and playful work design may be part of our solution for or to reduce work stress. And I have absolutely no idea what these terms mean. Could you please explain to me what you mean with it?
I can understand that, Tessa, yeah. Let me start by saying that in this study at Erasmus University, we used an overall theory about how working conditions influence employee well-being. So we say that if you have high demands and low resources, then the chances are higher that you will experience job stress and that you will eventually burn out. And we have a lot of evidence for that in many, many studies. Now, the idea is generally, so I want to make that clear first, that it is very important that the organization, so the management of our university, takes care of the job conditions so that we don't have too high workload, that we instruct professors to contact their employees so that they don't feel too isolated and so forth. But then coming to your question about job crafting and playful work design, job crafting, both are proactive strategies, so behavioral strategies that employees can engage in. Job crafting is the proactive changing your working conditions, molding your work conditions so that they better fit with your needs and your preferences and your own capabilities. So, for example, if I feel rather stressed because I have 200 emails, which is true, I have 200 emails, I can think of strategies to proactively deal with them. And one way to playfully do that is to set a clock for myself and say, okay, in the next hour, I will deal with 25 emails. And then if I reach that, I will feel okay, I will feel fine. I will feel okay. So, but also with the job crafting, what we mean is that you can wait for your supervisor to contact you and to support you, but you can also proactively ask for support, ask for feedback, look for opportunities to develop yourself, also in the times of Corona. So we say there is a role for the management, for the management board of the Erasmus University, but also for employees themselves.
Yeah, but now I feel the stress in me rising because I can be quite competitive. Now I have to be a competitor to myself, to work off 25 emails in an hour. That's probably not what you mean with this?
No. Okay, so it's important to note that these proactive work strategies like job crafting and playful work design, these are the things that people really want to do themselves. So some people do this more naturally. If you're a playful person, if you're open to new experiences, if you're extroverted, then you will be easier in making jokes over a Zoom connection, in meetings with colleagues. You will ask exciting questions in a meeting, and so forth and so forth. But when it comes to competition, it's not a competition with other people. So you can never lose, actually.
Oh, I like that. I prefer that. Yeah.
Yeah, you can really never lose. So if 25 is too much for you, you could say 10 and be happy about that. So the important thing is the self-starting behavior that you need to show if you're alone at home, like I am at the moment. So you are alone. You have to hang up your own party decoration and make your own party. So come on, let's face it, we have a lot of work to do, but let's do it in a positive way. That is the job crafting perspective.
Yeah, but of course it's also still a very serious topic because work pressure and high work stress have been issues at universities for years and years now. Shouldn't the university also tackle this structurally? So if there are more students, we would hire more lecturers, for example.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, our work is very influential worldwide when it comes to burnout. We know a lot about burnout, and we know that it is devastating, and that it also affects people in higher education. Definitely true. I agree that when it comes to structural approaches, these are to be preferred, because if you offer people mindfulness courses or offer them the option to do meditation to deal with the stress, that will not take away the stressor. So eventually they will face the stressor again. So of course it's better if you have a lot of teaching, a lot of students, to have more staff, to try to arrange the work in a smarter way, in an efficient way. And I think the university is trying to do it. But I really hope that the political parties, and I put my hope on D66, that they will have a convincing influence in a coalition, that they will give universities the money to really take care of this.
Yeah, and luckily we have someone of the HR department in our midst. Roos, how do you feel about this?
I fully agree. Of course, we need structural solutions. Structural solutions are to be preferred because they are more sustainable. A good start also by our government is, of course, the National Education Program. I call it a start because these funds are not structural yet. So it's not likely that they will solve the issues that have been, mounted up over the years. But it's a good start, and I have further hopes. Another thing we are doing ourselves as an organization, as the is that we have an approach to work pressure, which is actually a participative work redesign project in which management and employees together sit in a room or virtually sit in a room, yes. And talk about what are bottlenecks or issues in our work that actually leads to work pressure, and what which bottlenecks are within our reach to solve, to fix, and what bottlenecks or issues are we asking from the executive board or maybe even from the Ministry of Education to solve. And from this analysis of bottlenecks and issues, we'll further look into what solutions need to be implemented. And if we do this together, make a good analysis, actually come up with solutions, and of course then implement solutions, don't forget that part, and then look back, have we implemented the solutions, and has this resulted in fewer work pressure, less work pressure, then I think this will actually help us.
Even this month, a new survey will be conducted. So hopefully, we will see how the situation develops quite soon. And we will be in touch when the next results are in. I want to thank you both for joining this morning. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Roos, for joining. And the concern for welfare of employees is high, but the problem is not always being addressed structurally. What would that look like?
We care so much about you, so we're going to focus on mental health in the workplace.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought that up. Could you please consider hiring some more people? We feel so pressured at the moment. And could you consider increasing our pays, because we cannot keep up with the spiraling cost of living. We are so stressed right now. We can't afford anything.
Yeah, so we were thinking yoga.
Thank you all for watching. EMTV will be back next Thursday, and we will be back again at 9 a.m. Do you want to keep up to date with the latest news? Go to erasmusmagazine.nl.